All right. So, like I said before, thanks again for doing this. My first question to you is tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the community.
Yeah, my name is Brooke Nelson. I just finished up my athletic eligibility at the University of Washington playing softball, where I pitch, hit, played first, kind of did everything. I would say my two most, or I would say two biggest aspects of community involvement would be helping the next generation of young softball players. So that's kind of including and giving lessons during the week to young softball players, helping coach and mentor young softball players in the greater Seattle area and Bonnie Lake, Puyallup area, but also the mental health advocacy piece, which is kind of tied to the university, but just advocating for better, I guess, mental health resources for collegiate athletes, kind of specifically was my lens of focus.
Mm-hmm. So I understand that you did a podcast where you talk to athletes. Can you talk a little bit about that and
Yeah.
whether that and how what the status of that is? Are you still doing that or?
Yeah. So it was called Off the Dirt with Brooke. And kind of when COVID hit, each class of athletes on our team. So that was my freshman year. We were all kind of tasked with find a way to engage the public, our fan base, find a way to engage them and keep them interested in Husky softball without us being able to physically um, play in front of them because COVID kind of shut everything down. And so my group, we had more of like a social media idea, and then I had the idea of a podcast. And so it was Off the Dirt with Brooke, and it kind of was just a random, I guess, assortment of people who came on from incoming freshmen, getting to know them, getting to know teammates. I haven't done it in, gosh, maybe 4 years. So it's kind of in a, do I keep going with it? Do I not? I don't know. So it's kind of in a big old question mark would be the best way to describe it. But I enjoyed getting to talk with my teammates, and coaches and other athletes within the softball realm. But we kind of talked all things UW softball, getting to know you, mental health, mindset, mental performance, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now I saw a clip of you once where you recently talked about your own mental health struggles. Could you talk a little bit about that and what made you decide to speak out about mental health, your mental health? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the biggest barrier and like stigma within I mean anyone with that's kind of struggling mentally, but I would say the biggest stigma with college athletics, because that was kind of my realm of focus, was breaking the stigma of conversation. Like a lot of times athletes are just told to like push through, keep going, keep going, keep going, like you're fine. But sometimes you're not fine. And it's breaking the stigma of it's okay to not be okay. It's you're not weak to talk about these things. Um, it's totally normal. It's not weird to seek help from a therapist. And so I think the stigma is broken by having brave athletes tell their story. And I've even seen the other side of it where I've gotten text messages, direct messages, people coming up after games of, hey, I watched your blank, whether it was an interview, whether it was a podcast, whether it was a written statement. Hey, I watched this. And, ever since that, I've decided that it's helpful for me to go seek therapy and I've benefited greatly from it. Um, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember 4 years ago, Simone Miles, if you remember, she had the
Yep.
twisties, and so she didn't have her head right at the right. She didn't have that head space right. So and she kind of like talked a little bit about that more and like um and I heard this sort of criticism like, well, why are you sort of talking about this? You should perform all this sort of hate and negativity towards
Mhm.
towards her and kind of how they kind of covered her. So that's kind of what I noticed.
Yeah. And gymnastics is a vastly dangerous sport. I'm more unfamiliar with the twisties, but my understanding, like kind of like the yips in softball almost would be, I guess, the closest comparison. But in gymnastics, if you land wrong in terms of timing and you hit your neck, like your whole life could be changed, or you hit, your spine, you could be paralyzed. And I think that was very brave of her because there was a vast amount of criticism in the sense of, we're fostering this culture of give up culture, or this is weak, or what are you trying to tell our young athletes? And I think I saw, I don't know if it was an Instagram post or a tweet of all these different like celebrity talk show hosts and all that good stuff saying basically criticism back on the last Olympics of fostering this weak culture, and you're never going to come back stronger, and she's just going to quit, and what role model is that setting for our young girls, and yada yada yada. I mean, it could go on and on and on, and now look at her kind
Yeah.
of proving all those people wrong, and all the medals that she's earned individually and as a team. And I think that was very brave of her.
Yeah, it really was. My kind of last question that I have in this is how important is it to talk about mental health, as it relates to sports? How important is it to sort of tie those two things together and get more people aware, get more people educated about, why it's important in the sport realm?
Absolutely. I think it starts with a conversation. So having a real conversation with your roommates, with your family at the dinner table, with your teammates, from coaches to players. And I think just really emphasizing the idea of like checking in on your people, to the point of, if I had I know my teammates so well that if they walked into practice or they walked into the locker room and something was off, I'm going to check on them. I'm not just going to say, "Oh, how are you? I'm good," when really there's more behind the good. You know what I mean? Um, so I'd say really checking in and just breaking the conversational barrier, just having these conversations and like really checking in and, okay, how are you today? Good, but let's go a little bit further. How are you really? Because 9 times out of 10, when someone says they're good, they're not just good. They may be great, they may be stressed, they may be bad, but like, give me something more. Like, really check in on each other. And I think our culture of technology could do a better job of checking in on each other, because I think sometimes with social media, it fosters like a superficial, I guess, layer of checking in. Sometimes social media doesn't tell the whole truth, I guess, of how you're doing. It may just tell like the highlights of my life. So I think just fostering a culture and relationships of having, I guess, deeper conversations of how are you really doing, checking in on your people, checking in on your teammates, emphasizing the idea that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to seek therapy. It's okay to talk to somebody. Like, there's nothing, there's strength in vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.